watching.
Subscribe. Hello, you're watching ScreenStalker Battle at Big Rock. I am Luca and this is Chopper Pete Quinnell. Press the thumbs up button and press the subscribe button and help us reach our next goal of 50,000 subscribers where, if we hit it, or when we hit it, we will launch our very own 2K universe mode, most likely in WWE 2K20 at this point. But all the characters are going to be there, all of us are going to be there, maybe even some crap gimmick wrestling will be there. It's going to be wicked, so help us reach that goal. And of course, leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. What is the dumbest way you've lost your game save data? For me, it was my friends and I playing Super Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube. And there's like the menus at the end where you can just sort of like skip through and stuff. My friend was very quick to be like, yep, no, yep, no, and everything. And then at one point accidentally just deleted all of the save data we had for Melee, which was like 50, 60, 70 hours worth of gameplay, trophy collecting, all of the characters and everything like that.
That's awful.
It was a dark day. Dark day. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about Iron Man possibly, in fact, probably returning to the MCU.
We talk about our thoughts about the Jurassic World short Battle at Big Rock.
There's some controversy with Borderlands 3, because of course there is.
And we go through your comments from yesterday's video.
But we're going to kick things off talking about the reports that Iron Man is coming back to the MCU. Deadline reported from the Saturn Awards, which when I was a child thought it was related to the Sega Saturn.
Nice.
And I was then sort of disappointed that it wasn't. They were reporting that Endgame won 6 Saturn Awards this year. They were nominated for 14, but they won 6, including Best Actor for Robert Downey Jr. And then they have this paragraph in the report. Robert Downey Jr.'s swan song performance as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man in Endgame, earned him the Best Actor in a Film award. Brackets, Downey will be seen in the role of Stark one more time, however, in the Marvel prequel Black Widow in May 2020.
It makes sense because this is a prequel. Iron Man still exists at this time. The Black Widow takes place after Captain America Civil War, but before all the other films that came after it. So he's still alive in this timeline, and it would make sense for him to be around in the movie, especially because Black Widow and Iron Man have a pretty rich history together. I mean, she even debuted in the MCU in Iron Man 2. So it makes sense, quote unquote, for him to be there, but you don't want to undermine everything that happened in Endgame.
And that's, for me, is the undermining aspect of this. The underminer from,
from The Incredibles.
It's the idea that we're just bringing Stark back already. Like, if this was in 10 years' time, and it was another MCU movie that was taking place, like, in the past, or it was taking place in the 90s, or in between the sort of movies of the first 3 phases, I'd be like, cool, I get that. And that's quite big news, because Tony Stark's coming back. That might be a way to bring people in. But to do the very next movie, and Spider-Man doesn't count, because it's a Sony picture.
Yeah.
This is the very next Marvel Studios movie, and he's just back again.
I mean, I wouldn't bring him back at all if it was me. I do think it's a wrong move to bring him back so soon. I think you need that kind of time to let people almost not forget Stark, but just almost move past his death a little bit more before you bring him back for a cameo or another role. But to have him back so soon, it's just going to remind us of him being in the MCU and to be like, why isn't he here anymore? Instead of just like mourning the loss of the character.
Like they did in Spider-Man. I know I just said that film doesn't really count. I'm being facetious. But it's the world in that movie where they are mourning the loss of Iron Man really feels like there's this huge hole missing in this MCU now because Tony Stark is gone. Iron Man is gone. And then for literally just one film later to be like, but here he is, folks, it's okay. Don't mourn him too much, because we'll just keep making films in the past and he can just keep coming back for them. Yeah, and I wonder if it's one of those things where Marvel were trying to keep this under wraps and we probably weren't meant to know it, so that when we do go to the movie, we're like, oh, look, there's a Tony Stark cameo. That's quite nice, even though I still think it would have undermined all the good stuff that he did in Endgame. And yeah, it's just now it's out there. Tony Stark's coming back to the MCU for one more cameo rodeo. Jurassic World made a short film. It's called The Battle of Big Rock, and they released it. Sticking with the movie world and the world of blockbuster entertainment, and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which was released last year, I want to say.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, sure.
Time moves in a different phase. World moves so differently once you've hit past your 30s. It's just like the films that came out 5 years ago, I'm like, that came out last year, right? Came out this year, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, Fallen Kingdom essentially set up this brand new world. All the dinosaurs have left the island because it was going to do an explosion or something. I don't really remember the film that well. It wasn't that great. But the end of the movie, has the dinosaurs essentially roaming around. They're not just like located to one island for a theme park. They're now roaming amongst us.
Hence, Jurassic World rather than Jurassic Park.
Exactly, you see. Colin Trevorrow knew what he was doing when he set it back up with Jurassic World. It wasn't just a pun on Disney World.
Definitely not.
It was there to set up this idea that we are going to be getting this Jurassic World. And we should be getting the final installment of this Jurassic World trilogy very soon, I would have thought, because the first one, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park 4, did amazing at the box office.
Oh, it did astounding numbers.
Astounding numbers. I don't think Fallen Kingdom did as well, but it wasn't as good of a movie. But very interestingly enough, to kind of like whet our appetite for Jurassic World 3, they've released a short movie.
Yes.
And this isn't just like, here's some news clips and this, that, and the other. It's not like a trailer for Jurassic Park 3. This is a legit 9-minute short film.
Almost.
And it's pretty great. It's called Jurassic World Battle at Big Rock, and it's based around... Essentially, it sets up this new world that we live in. Like, there's a bit of news footage at the start, and there's like, it's the first dinosaur born on American soil, to kind of like set the scene very briefly. And then we are introduced to this sort of like nuclear family, and they're sort of living in this trailer park world, this sort of trailer park lot. And then some dinosaur shenanigans happen, and then an even bigger dinosaur shows up, and we get this pretty fantastic action sequence.
Because you get to see a mother Triceratops and a little baby Triceratops, which is really cute. And then all of a sudden, there's a much bigger dinosaur that comes in and it tries to eat them. And then the family's all trying to be quiet in their caravan. It's awesome.
This was the best advertisement for me to get excited about Jurassic World 3 that they probably could have done. It's not just a trailer featuring Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. This is, dude, here's the world. Get ready for this world. And I'm like, I'm ready for this world. I am now super excited for Jurassic World 3.
And that was the point. Borderlands, oh, Borderlands. So, did you know there's some more controversy about Borderlands 3?
Quelle surprise.
Players were losing their save data as they were playing. Now, Borderlands, it's a very long game. It's a long time to grind through the whole kind of process of the game and get all your level ups and all the weapons that you need and all that stuff. It can take a long time. So you could play for quite a few hours, make a little bit of progress, but then you'd have to redo all that because the Epic Store put on cloud saves that didn't actually save your game. Epic did put out an immediate kind of hot fix to this problem, but it didn't actually fix it. It fixed some of the symptoms, but not the actual underlying problem, which they're apparently still looking into. It just reeks of stupidity, honestly.
From 2K?
From 2K doing something stupid.
Quelle surprise.
However, people have said it's a good game, so I guess it makes up for it. It doesn't, but, whatever.
And now, your comments. So, Laurie Blake on his Lonesome asked you in yesterday's video, what is the best score you've ever had in a game? And you answered in your dozens. Sir Lose-A-Lot said, I was #1 in the world for like a year on Grand Slam Tennis for the Wii. All it took was no job and an extremely small player base. When I was looking into possibly speedrunning games, I did pick Lester the Unlikely because I was like, it's got such a small player base. I could get the speedrunning record on this.
That's what you need. Faux Jazz says, highest score? Probably Commando on the C64. I played that so hard the score counter wrapped around to zeros again several times. Loved that game.
You are not alone on that one. Commando for the Commodore is wicked. And it looks amazing as well. Looks really, really great.
Yeah, I will admit, though, that probably one of the most anticlimactic things I've ever experienced in my life was going through a game, trying to get the score counter to wrap around back to a zero, because I didn't know what was going to happen, because I thought, the game's going to freak out. You can't get a score that's that high. And then it just wrapped around and went back to zero again, and I was like,
Enigma Reed said, topped the Just Cause 3 wingsuit gliding leaderboard by gliding for 10 minutes. Most pointless clip I've ever posted. Not sure if I'm proud of that record, but it is a record.
That's what it is. It's a record. You can, again, put it on your CV. It's fine.
Absolutely.
And finally, Tuxedo T Servo says, the arcade game King of the Monsters. It was part of those Neo Geo cabinets with multiple games in them. It was basically wrestling with giant monsters. Everyone else on the leaderboard had scores at 80 to 90k. Mine was 890k. There was a definite mechanic to that game that if you figured it out, you could waste the opposing monsters quickly, then roll up lots of points destroying the surrounding buildings, power plants, etc. before getting the pin. There was a timer, so you also had to beat that.
I was a big fan of King of the Monsters. I had it for the Mega Drive when I was a kid. It was quite fascinating in the fact that if you try to play it with the 6-button pad, it didn't work.
Really?
It only worked with a 3-button pad, like the original. Because I had the 6-button pad for Street Fighter, the Championship Edition for the Mega Drive. And yeah, so you had to like, where's those 3-button controllers gone? These archaic 3-button controllers, and plug that in, and be like, cool, now I can play King of the Monsters again.
I need the less good version of this in order to play this game.
But that is all we've got time for on this edition of ScreenStalker. Please leave a comment down below to let us know what is the dumbest way you've lost your save data in a game, and we'll be answering those questions in tomorrow's video. Please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with more awesome ScreenStalker things, and remember, we're watching.